Let's try filming this video again. I'll explain why in a second. Hi, Katie here, better known as Reading with Katie Louise, and I'm here to bring you some of my much anticipated book releases of 2025. So let's start with a funny story which has literally just happened in me recording this. I don't know how many times I'm going to record this video before it works. So as you all know, I got a mic for my YouTube. You may have noticed already the change in sound quality. So on Monday, I actually recorded a whole booktube, came to edit it on Tuesday, to realise that there is no audio on it. The mic I thought I'd turned on, I'm now realising it had died. Because I've just tried to record again and it's cut off halfway through my videos. So yeah, I did bring you a book video. It was actually an audio book recommendations. However, I'm not re-recording that because I want to bring you a different one first. And this one is going to be all about the anticipated book releases of 2025. I do have 10 to bring you, but yeah, let's try and film this without any glitches and I can hopefully bring you a YouTube video. I do want to get to 100 of you this year. That is my target, so I do need to put out more videos. So please pop in the comments once you've watched this video what other book related videos you want to see, and I'll try and get some more content filmed for you guys. But yeah, let's get into my most anticipated releases of 2025. So the first one I want to talk about, and I'm a little bit raw about, is Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. I actually requested this as an ARC on NetGalley and was unfortunately declined. I did have a few issues with NetGalley at the beginning and it has affected my feedback ratio, which means that unfortunately they don't want to give me an ARC, and I completely get that, but it does make it more exciting for me to actually read when it releases. So I am currently in the process of reading Alice Feeney's backlist, so this will be the last one obviously when it releases. This releases January 30th, and from what I can gather reading up on it, it follows a woman who is driving in the car and she's on the phone to her author husband, and basically he's on the phone, then all of a sudden he hears her slam on the brakes and she just basically gets out the car, walks off and is never seen again. So a year later he's still dealing with this, she's still missing, and he basically goes off to right in the middle of nowhere and he thinks he sees his wife. So I feel like this is going to be a really good read. I've heard good things. From the blurb it sounds a little bit similar to Rock Paper Scissors just because of the setting, like, you know, being in the middle of nowhere, that kind of thing. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to read it. It will be the last one I read. I'm currently on with I Know Who You Are by Alice Feeney, and I've only got Daisy Darker left to read other than the release that is coming out at the end of January. But I am intrigued to read that one, and if anyone has read it as an ARC, I'm extremely jealous and would love to know your thoughts. So the next book I want to talk about is The Crash by Freida McFadden. This also releases in January and it releases January 28th. So this follows, from what I can gather, there is a woman who is 8 months pregnant, her car breaks down, and basically a couple who find that she's stuck in her car help her, take her back to the house and say they will look after her. I think it's set in a snowstorm, I believe. And yeah, basically until the snow's cleared they say they will look after her. Now I don't imagine it's as simple as that. It's a Freida McFadden book. She has a lot of twists. Now I am hoping, I have heard from those that have been fortunate enough to read this before it releases, that it is a lot better than her most recent ones. So I've actually not rated anything by Freida McFadden more than 3 stars in her last few books. So I am really looking forward to seeing where this is going, and I hope it is good. I do know there is a special edition coming out of the works which I will be going to purchase the second that it releases. So yeah, that's another one I'm excited for, and yeah, I will definitely bring you the sprayed edge of that when I do get around to reading it. So another January release. I must say January looks very good for book releases. I know there are other books getting released that I'm not too excited for, but I'm sure you'll have seen all the rage about Onyx Storm, but fantasy isn't for me. I do own the first 2 in the series and have read 1 and I did enjoy it, but I'm just not hyped for that. But back to the books I am hyped for, and the last one for January is Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister. Now I really enjoyed Wrong Place, Wrong Time. I have a couple of her other books on my bookshelf, so I am intrigued to pick this up. So this releases January 30th and it follows a woman who is going back to work after being on maternity leave. Her daughter is going to nursery and she cannot find her partner. He's just nowhere to be seen. And then as things unravel, basically it comes to light that there is a hostage situation, and her husband is caught up in it. Apart from he's not part of the hostage, he is the one holding them hostage by gunpoint. I find that so intriguing already. I've seen really good things about this book, so I definitely will be picking it up at some point. I do really like Gillian McAllister's writing, so I am really looking forward to seeing what this one brings. So the next book I want to talk about is releasing February 11th, and that is You Are Fatally Invited by Andy Poligo, I'm going to say his name is. Please correct me if I've said that wrong. I actually have this as an ARC, so I will be picking it up at the beginning of February anyway, but I haven't really read much on it, but what I have read is, I know it is around 6 authors and they basically all go on a retreat. One of them is unalived, so what is meant to be like a week of like games and helping you to write and things is basically, it just turns into a bit of a murder mystery kind of vibe, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. I am so excited to pick this up. I might even pick it up at the end of January if I get a chance. I do have a couple of other ARCs stacked up at the moment. But yeah, it does sound really intriguing. I do have it on my Kindle to read, so I'll definitely be reading it before its release date, so probably the beginning of February. Yeah, the blurb literally says, and I'm reading it from my screen right now, it says, the host, the assistant, the players, the game. 6 thriller authors, 1 writing retreat. You die to be on the guest list. So I'm definitely intrigued to see where this goes, and I'll definitely let you know when I've read it. Now, my channel is pretty much filled with crime and thriller book recommendations. However, I do dip into romance, and the next one I want to talk about is part of the Dream Harbour series, and that is The Strawberry Pancake House by Laurie Gilmore. Now, this releases, I think, the 13th of March, and I really enjoyed the series. I didn't enjoy The Christmas Tree Farm as much, and this one is book 4 in the series, The Strawberry Pancake House. But I do know it's a single dad trope, and it's the coming for a living nanny. He's trying to hold down a job as a chef while raising his daughter. So yeah, definitely intrigued to see where this goes. I'm hoping I still love it. They're quite nice. They're not the cute covers, they're very deceiving, but I do still enjoy the storylines that come with these. I have enjoyed all 3. They haven't been rated less than 4, despite me saying I didn't enjoy Christmas Tree Farm as much. But yeah, that releases in March. So if you're looking for a palate cleanser and you've read the rest of the Dream Harbour series, definitely recommend. If you haven't, I definitely recommend picking it up for a little bit of a palate cleanser, but they are quite seasonal. So definitely bear that in mind. I am going to see when this one is set as to whether I do decide to pick it up imminently, but if not, it will definitely go in the archives for reading at some point. So next up, and releasing at the beginning of March, is a book I'm extremely excited for, and that is You Killed Me First by John Marrs. I really love John Marrs. I was not quick enough in getting hold of an ARC of this book, I'm not going to lie. But it's fine because I do want to read his backlist anyway and do him as an author spotlight over here on YouTube. So I will be picking this up and I am super excited. I've already seen a couple of authors read this and they are rating it one of their favourite books. So I'm very excited to read this. Now, I've read the blurb because I don't really read much about books, but I do want to give you a bit of a sort of what is happening in this book. And basically it's November 5th, so I feel like I need to push this to the autumn, which it may be with how long it'll take me to read all of his books. And basically she awakens in a nightmare. She is sat in a bonfire waiting and it's beginning to engulf. It goes back then to an old time frame and basically it follows 3 women who have this perfect friendship but they all have their own little secret. I feel like I'm going to be so hooked on this book. I've seen it hyped already, which makes me super excited, but John Marrs is an incredible author. If you haven't picked up any of his books yet, I would definitely recommend. I have read What Lies Between Us and that has already got me into his books. I own several more of them, so I'm super excited to see where this one goes. The next one I want to talk about, and yet another amazing author, is Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. This releases in June and it follows a woman who meets a guy and before long they move in together, but he disappears for days at a time. And basically she's screaming to herself. If she was from the outside looking in, she'd say, don't let him in. I love a Lisa Jewell book. I mean, you can just about see in shot here, I've got a full stack of her books. She's another author I want to backlog, but she has so many books that it's going to take me so long to get through all of those. I have already read quite a few. I think I've read a good 8 or 9 of her books. And I think bar one, I've read all, they're all 4 stars or above. I am planning on getting stuck into a few more. They are in my Tackle My TBR, which I am going to be doing more of in 2025. So hopefully I can get that added to the list. But I'm definitely intrigued. Lisa Jewell's got a very interesting writing style and I really enjoy her type of writing. So I'm very much looking forward to where this is going and I'm quite intrigued to see where it goes because there's not much given away in that blurb and that's what I quite like. Now, it wouldn't be a thriller video and a video by me if I didn't mention that Steve Kavanagh is of course releasing another book in 2025 and that releases at the end of July. Now, it has no cover and no name yet, so I'm sat patiently waiting like his biggest fan for this to release, but it is the 9th edition to the Eddie Flynn series. I'm already excited. I have read all 8 of the Eddie Flynn series. They are all here on my shelf. You can literally see I've got a whole like shelf dedicated to that author. I am about to go and buy all of his new covers as well. So yeah, I can't even tell you anything about it. There's no blurb released. He just has said he's releasing a book at the end of July and it's the 9th in the Eddie Flynn series. So unfortunately, as much as I could talk until I'm blue in the face about Steve Kavanagh, that's all I can bring you. Now, the next book I want to talk about has, by me reading the blurb, has spoiled the most recent book that I haven't read, but it's fine. So basically, you all know how much I love the D.I. Helen Grace series. If you're over on my BookTok account, you will see that there is an order pinned on there, and you'll know that I will talk about MJ Allage as much as I'll talk about Steve Kavanagh. And I only actually discovered MJ Allage last year. So he is releasing the 13th book, I believe, in the Helen Grace series, and it is called Into the Fire. There is no cover for this yet. It does release in July, I believe. But when reading up on it, the first thing I read is D.I. Helen Grace doesn't regret quitting the force. Spoiler alert, as I'd already said. But yeah, we'll see how that book goes. It's probably going to be an absolute... because I haven't read the 12th one at the time of recording this. Anyway, let's just say she's probably having second thoughts. I think every police officer, especially someone who is as committed as D.I. Helen Grace is in that book, is... she's having second thoughts. I'm not going to read anymore. That first line was enough for me. I don't want to ruin the book anymore. Because I love that series and I do want to get hooked into it. I'm kind of a little bit annoyed that the blurb literally has a massive spoiler for the rest of the series. But I suppose if you're looking at the blurb, you've read the rest of them, haven't you? But if the books are coming out of order, which a lot of people do with MJ Allage, because, you know, they're spotted everywhere. The works had book 8 in, but not book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So anyway, I'm not here to rant. I'm here to bring you my most anticipated releases, so I'll stop talking about it there. But MJ Allage is, of course, releasing another book in 2025. The last book that I want to talk about, and this also releases in July, is Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter. Now, I didn't know Lynn Painter was releasing another book. Those guys that know me know that Lynn Painter is my all-time favourite romance author. And she's releasing another book. Better than the movies. If you haven't read it, go read it. There's no smut in it. It's gorgeous. But yeah, so this one follows a maid who basically she's not really a maid. She's a professional cleaner. And basically she is kicked out of her own apartment due to infestation, which is quite ironic, obviously. She's then struggling to find a place to stay. She actually cleans somebody's apartment who is called Declan, and he's away quite a lot. So she's going to go and stay in his apartment while it is free. I don't imagine it's that straightforward. The tropes include forced proximity and fake dating, so I'm definitely intrigued to see how this goes. I love Lynn Painter. She's another author I intend to backlist. As much as she's not a crime and thriller, I do think she's a really good palate cleanser author. So yeah, definitely excited to see where her book goes. So that are my 10 books that I am excited to pick up in 2025. I always love a new release anyway. I did say to myself this year that I would only buy books from a series I currently own. However, there are a couple in there that aren't technically part of the series, but are all authors that I already own. But yeah, let me know, guys, in the comments, what are you most excited to read this year? Maybe it's something I can add to my TBR, or I just like to see what you guys are reading. And as always, guys, thank you so much for joining me on yet another video. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.